what are some of the deepest programs or conditioning you've had to unlearn from growing up in the West, growing up in Australia, when it comes to understanding your value and your reality?
Hmm. Oh, it's a big question. I've actually kind of like already talked on a few in this conversation. The the real big ones, especially that I've like, because many of them are still in process at the moment of being not only unearthed but processed and cleaned and let go of. Um, but some of the big ones that I've noticed that have come a long way over this last year for me. Is the approaches to cities and lifestyle in general, and specifically like with the nature conversation that we had earlier on, and this like idea of like creating bubbles of safety, concrete structures that protect us from nature, literally the thing that is our origin and source, you know? Going down to the jungle and seeing the way that they live there, literally on just bare land. It's as if they have like gone into like a jungle, maybe cut down a few trees and used the wood slats to build like shacks. And that's all they've changed on the natural land, just to protect them from rain potentially, But like there are no glass windows, or they might have netting for the bugs, they have essentially the bare minimum edits to the raw virgin reality of this planet, and they are thriving. They have not a care in the world. They don't have they don't have windows that need to be cleaned. They don't have concrete that cracks and needs to be re-leveled every few years. They don't have like cables and piping and all these things that need to be dug up, and they don't have telephone wires fucking hitting trees. It's like they are just living, and they are healthy, and it's like they don't even care. It's not, it doesn't even occur to them, these dynamics that might consume someone, just an average Joe from the West. Their experience, if they went into that situation, they would be like, "What the fuck? Where are the telephone cables? Where is my hot shower? Where are the windows? Where you wouldn't be able to think about anything else except for the absence of all these like safety nets that we have arbitrarily introduced into like the baseline experience across the board everywhere in the West and many places in the world. Now, yes, these are luxuries, but a big reframing that occurred for me was like those things were seen as baseline default necessities, and very very quickly I started to realize that they are absolute luxuries. And not only that, as with any luxury, have a significant cost to them as well that are completely we're unconscious to. We are not aware of the cost of these things because they are defaults for us. And so the costs that they are incurring on our experience and our energy is also a default. But that's not the truth. That's not the reality. That is not the nature of experience on this planet. That it has just been bit by bit slowly crept into the and introduced into, and I'm saying that with a level of intention. That's beside the point whether there's an intentional introduction or not. It is the reality that that thing has bit by bit been shifting the Overton window of our awareness and what we accept as real and normal over the last how many decades. I'm not going to put it, I don't know the reality of when this started, but what it means is that we have millions and millions and millions of people living unaware of how different their actual baseline is from the origins that we came from, and the origins of what's actually necessary, and I would say like healthy, and fosters a like health and wellness. So that's a big one for me. It's a real big one.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's when you like, it's such a radical difference, you
Massive,
know.
massive.
And like, I'm not ready to go all the way, but as I learn more and I evolve more, I'm definitely stepping more and more in that direction,
Hmm.
as time
Hmm.
goes on. And I think there's like a really interesting correlation that happens in the pursuit of comfort, that it actually creates discomfort. Like
Absolutely,
you
absolutely.
sleeping on the floor, right? And then you get a mattress and it's like soft and you're like, oh, this is nice. And then you have to get like a softer mattress, because now it's like
Slippery slope.
you've acclimatized to the level of comfort, so you no longer feel comfortable. And
Absolutely.
it's like this thing just spirals out of fucking control to the
Hmm.
point where to feel comfortable, people have to come home and drink 6 beers after work,
And that's
you know?
baseline. That's their baseline. Yeah.
Baseline,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
baseline,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, it's so insidious, dude. The slippery slope. So insidious.
Uh-huh. And that's really like what governments are just really doing. They're just pretending to hold the safety bubble for everyone. When in
Hmm.
reality, it's actually just making everyone sick and everyone
Hmm.
uncomfortable.
Hmm. I mean, like, whether you believe that comfort breeds weakness or not, it certainly does not foster strength. That's one of the things that, you know, it's so we just need to be aware of the necessary comforts, you know, um the necessity of the comfort. It's the awareness ultimately. And again, it comes back to assessing the relationship and seeing disconnecting the attachment, like I was kind of speaking about before. When you identify with a person that sleeps in a comfortable bed, that is you, you know. But if you can create a little bit of a distance between the actual you and that identity, then you realize that there is a relationship between these two versions. And that's when you assess, how necessary is this relationship? How much do I actually want this relationship? I'm not saying don't sleep on comfortable beds. I'm just saying try your best to be aware of that relationship that you have with that identity. Because it can just be unconscious, you know?
Yeah. And that's something that just like indigenous wisdom that I've like encountered in general kind of seems to push to, where we look at like vision questing or sun dancing in like the North American Lakota traditions, and they do 4 days no food, no water, you know?
Big
And
one.
then I'm like, okay, so like, I practice my fasting and my dry fasting and all of these things throughout my life. And like, yes, there's like health benefits to it, but it's also like once you've gone 2 days without water or 5 days without food, and you're like, I'm kind of hungry, it doesn't stress you out. Whereas people are like, I can't miss a meal. You know what I mean? Like it changes
100%.
the peace, the level of peace in your mind. And
Hmm.
even like when it comes to traveling, there's always cool things to see. But something that I've found that's led to growth, if you're traveling for growth, it's like you're seeking discomfort to some degree. When I
Absolutely.
lived down in the jungle with the jaguars, right? Epic experience. I'm like walking jaguars on leashes. But when I tell that story to my sister, she doesn't even think the jaguar walking was the cool bit. The cool bit was that I lived in the jungle for 3 months with no running water and no electricity, sleeping on a straw bed, you know? And like now, I feel like I can just be thrown in so many situations and just like be peaceful. You know what I mean? Because of that
Hmm.
experience, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I've done. I know it's all temporary as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah, man. Oh, it's so true, man. It's this is like, because that's what I was speaking about. Like, it builds resilience, it builds strength. It also just gives you direct experience is king, direct experience and evidence of your ability to do that, you know? Until you do it, it's not possible. It doesn't even occur to you that you could do it. You might Maybe it does. It's very unlikely that you're thinking about that, but as soon as you do it, you're like, fuck, I actually went 3 days without food. It no longer seems like a gargantuan task. It is now just like, oh, been there, done that. And that doesn't necessarily mean it makes it any easier to do that task. It just means that it is no longer, it doesn't seem like this illusory, imaginary, like mammoth task that is beyond your reach because it's been directly demonstrated to you that it is not. And that's what is super important to just prove these things to you sometimes, to yourself. Just like, what's the word that I use? Give it like the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh, what if you're like default to seeing something new, for example, like learning an instrument is like, oh, I could never do that. If you like, you default to denying the potential that something is possible. um just like, what if you didn't do that straight away? What if you like saw this thing and you're like, oh, maybe it's possible? That's like, and then you go a step further and it's like, what if your default was actually assuming that you could do it? These are like, this is a big shift that I'm kind of working on at the moment, is like looking at things and just being like, nah, couldn't possibly do that. And you like catch yourself. It's like, why am I even thinking that I couldn't do that? What evidence do I have that I can't do the thing? I have no evidence either way. So why am I going to default to the negative? Why don't I just default to the positive? Why don't I default to it's actually well within my grasp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that's something that I know I definitely think about where I'm kind of feeling like to some degree, I'm at the point, not all the time, but around a lot of things where if someone can do it, I can do it.
Totally.
You know what I
Totally.
mean? And like
Totally.
that's where it's really interesting, where the people who think they can do something that's never been done before, that's the real interesting stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean? But like my
Hmm.
default is like if someone can do it, I can do it. Period. If someone
Hmm.
can play this song on guitar, I can learn it, no matter how difficult it is.
For
You
sure.
know?
For sure. Yeah. Stop looking for reasons why you can't do something and start looking for reasons for why you can do that thing. If
Uh-huh.
someone can
And
do it.
also reasons like why you should,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. That's a
Like,
good point.
how many of us just like live in these little comfortable again boxes, inside of our identities? It's like, oh, everything's like perfectly organized, and you just micromanage your entire little world. And this is something like I've said a lot throughout my life where I've made multiple leaps into the complete unknown. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
there's like three major ones in my life where I've done that. And like the last one was like moving to Costa Rica. Like I moved down here with $1,000 and a laptop, and I was like, I'm gonna make it work, you know. And before I left, I had a million reasons not to come, in my mind. But like
Hmm.
spirit said go,
Hmm.
and so I went, and
Hmm.
999,999 of them came true, right? Like
Hmm.
we're not irrational people. Like they came true, you know. But I didn't see the million beautiful things that would come of it, you know? And you never do until you're there.
Because there's too many of them that are possible. So, and also we don't like to hope. Sometimes it's very, very easy to be like, oh, I'm so scared of hoping for something good in case it doesn't happen. So it's easier to default for just like assuming that the negative's going to happen and then just never kind of venture into that area at all. It's yeah. The it's just fear at the end of the day. Yeah.
For sure. And like what do you allow to be the thing that drives you in life? You know? Is it like the pursuit of freedom? Is it the pursuit of love? Is it spirit or is it fear? You know?
Consistency and safety and predictability.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like there's always a really simple solution, And like it's not simple to actually act on,
Mhm.
but you have to just dive into the complete unknown, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, it's just fun. within reason, you know. There's like a level of just like absolute recklessness, but even then that serves, you know, that serves many spirits who want that kind of lifetime. But yeah, this is not, it's not telling everyone to just go and fucking jump off a bridge or something like that, see what's gonna happen, you know. But like
Yeah, but like
step by
send
step,
it.
send it. Exactly,
Like
exactly.
send it. Like step by step, but like send it. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Like you got to be brave in this world.
absolutely, absolutely.
You got to be brave. And every time I've made that leap into the unknown, it's always benefited my evolution of consciousness at the very least. You know?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You learn the most from that which you don't know, and if you're scared of that, you'll just learn the least. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed the show. If you did enjoy the show, don't forget to like and subscribe below. It really helps a growing channel like this out. And click up here, it'll take you to a collection of the best this podcast has to offer.